hundreds of families that have done that along the way, and they've all expressed the same thing to me. They're living with a lot of regret, and they're wishing that they weren't asked at that moment, because if they were asked before or after, they would have definitely said yes. So there's one part of the system that we have to change. We need to become less reliant and dependent on the decision making to have it at that stage. We should have the decision making focused outside of that scenario, and you know, make it an individual choice.
How can you do that though when there's what is there, a 6-hour window or something that I've heard about that for some organs and that kind of thing?
Yes, the window is very small, the time frame, but what we can do is we can set up a registry in our country and make our decisions legal binding, and that would certainly save a lot of you know, discomfort and uncomfortable procedure for officials to approach the family. You know, once the person has registered that he does want his organs to get donated, it would be simply a matter of just popping up the computer and finding that out. And once they do find that out, then they can proceed.
And easier for the family as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing, just from also talking to a lot of donor families, there's an incredible amount of relief to the grieving process, knowing that the organs have gotten donated, and you know, up to 10 people could be benefiting from that, and knowing that there's their loved ones' organs are carrying on in another life, you know, such as mine, for example. I hope that one day I can meet the family that donated the organs and you know, just express my gratitude, and it feels like there's such a strong bond, and it feels like they're my extended family right now.
Well, in your case, I suppose even more so, because I mean, not only have you got to live the rest of whatever your life's going to be, but you've decided to try and have an impact on the organ transplant scenario. So I mean, that family's decision has made a little bit more difference in your case probably than in other people's.
And Bill, I don't want to point that I'm a, you know, the only one, you know, doing something in gratitude, because there's a lot of recipients that are living with a lot of gratitude, because once you're on that waiting list, knowing that your time is going to be cut short and that you'll be passing away soon, you go through a transformation of, after receiving the organ, knowing that you have a second chance at life. Sort of brings a new perspective on living, and the gratitude is just so enormous in all of us recipients that it will be so you know, pleasant for the donor family to see that. So it just, you know, this whole question of keeping the anonymity part is of course there's good reasons behind it, but we should have options available, that if the donor family does have a desire to meet the recipient, and the recipient has that same desire, along with guidelines, we should have an option available for that meeting to take place.
Yeah, I think you're right, because yes, there are people who make the decision and really don't want to know where they went or who they went to or whatever, but there are other people who you know, get some kind of closure out of meeting the person and seeing what's happened.
Exactly, you know, and just knowing that their loved one is continuing on, it just, I feel that, like, I think and feel about that family almost every day.
Now, there's one, just before we go to the break here, there's one question I'd like you to clarify, and it has to do with our deputy mayor. I understand he walked a short distance with you on Friday. Now, there's a rumor that he had some difficulty keeping up with you. Is there any truth to that? Or?
No, I think Mr. Crest is in really good shape. I think that he could be called on to do this kind of thing again.
He could make it a little further than he did then, probably, you think?
Well, he seemed like he made it okay at the end.
Well, we'll go with that then. Thanks for providing us with that information. A lot of people were wondering, I know. We're going to take our next commercial break, and we're going to open up our phone lines. And we've called this part 2 of a series, if you will, on organ transplants. Obviously, George is able to speak about this topic from a different perspective than our guests were last week, and but the same message is there, that people have an opportunity to save not one life with making that one decision for themselves or for somebody else, but they have a chance to save. George is telling us this morning up to or impact at least up to 10 different people with a single donation or single decision to donate. So we're going to find out more about that when we come back. We're going to find out about some of the people that are helping George along his way, and we'll open our phone lines so that if you have a question or comment you'd like to make, or again, we'll invite folks who've had this experience, and maybe you have some suggestions. Maybe you're a family that was approached and have some suggestions on how it could be handled better. We'd like to hear what they are this morning. 725-2525 is our local line. If you're calling us long distance from anywhere in Manitoba or Saskatchewan, use our toll-free number, 1-888-2210-888. We'll take our break, and we'll be back for more in just a couple of minutes. We're back, and we'll go to our phone lines here this morning. Hi, thanks for joining us. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
I just wanted to remark that my mother had donated her eyes, corneas, in 1961.
Really?
And I got a letter from them thanking them for the donation.
From the people who received them?
No, I think it was from the donation place.
Okay, right.
And I'm quite interested in having cremation and donation. And can the person do that if they're cremated? They donate and give them away before the cremation, I guess.
Go ahead, George.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think when the opportunity comes for the donation, that's way before any forms of burial takes place. So absolutely, yes.
So that's something you'd obviously have to plan carefully, because quite often that process can happen rather quickly.
Yes.
So again, what you were saying about let everybody know and make sure all the ducks are in a row.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Well, your mother, what moved her to do that? Because that's been a few years ago now.
No, I know it's a long time ago, but she wanted to donate her eyes.
Good for her.
Yes.
1961.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. So you're interested in doing the same thing?
Yeah, I'm interested in donating anything that's usable.
Mm-hmm. So
And
does your family know that?
I think they do, but I'm going to give them
Make it crystal clear.
more information, and I guess you have to have it on your chart with the doctor too.
Well, yeah, it's not a bad idea if your family physician knows. Probably most importantly your family, because after you're dead they're going to be asking for their permission, and I think that's when it's most important.
Yes, it is. The immediate family will be approached.
Anyway, sounds like you're on the right track.
When my husband's away, they didn't, like the doctor didn't ask anything about
No. And George can maybe talk a little bit about this. And is it in some centers, are they just not prepared to harvest the organs? I mean, I've been told that's another problem.
Yes, it is. Once again, the government hasn't recognized this as a real priority, so there's really no funding or no vision into developing proper harvest area, logistically and geographically.
Because it can't be done just anywhere.
No, it can't. And there's also that problem of people feeling discouraged that if they're living in remote areas, what's the use anyways if my organs aren't going to arrive there in time? So, that's another part of an initiative that the government should be taking.
So if you weren't asked, ma'am, perhaps it's because they weren't capable of taking them at the time. It's hard to say. Anyway, we thank you for your call today.
Okay.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, you're on the air.
Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
Fine, thank you.
That's good. My name is Wayne Warren. I'd like to tell you that 5 years ago this summer, I was the recipient of a double lung transplant at the Health Sciences Center in Winnipeg.
Great.
And I'm sorry I missed your show last week.
Yeah, well, we had fun.
Okay. anything that I can